to the channel. I'm back to break down this 10-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Excited to get into it. Hopefully last night you played Paul George. My lock of the night went off again. He's even had some lower ownership over on DraftKings specifically too. Like even in the higher dollar tournaments I was in, he's only around like 7 or 8% owned, and he was the top scoring guy on the slate on DraftKings. I only played on DraftKings last night, so I'm not sure how that shook out on FanDuel if he was actually ended up being the top scoring guy over there. But regardless, the guy absolutely went off. My lock of the night. Looking to keep it going. If you're new to the channel, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. Throughout this whole entire video, I'm going to be giving you guys my best plays to get you in the green. I'll be here all NBA DFS season long, breaking down these DFS slates. If you enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. YouTube continues to tell me that about 70% of my audience is not subscribed. I know there's plenty of people that are continually coming back to watch my content that aren't subscribed because I can see it in the analytics. So if that's you, believe it or not, if you just take 1 second to hit that subscribe button, it goes a long way for me. And like I said, don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night because we're really on a roll for that. And if you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, I would highly recommend my NBA DFS premium package. That's linked below in the description. You get access to all of my projections, all of my tools to build your best lineups, my core plays, etc. Been getting a lot of good feedback from my current patrons on that as well. They're winning some money, so that's always good to hear. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down the slate today. As always, we're going to go game by game here. First game on the slate, we have Orlando taking on Detroit. This game right now comes in with a 207 over-under with a 6-point spread in favor of the Detroit Pistons. So expected to be a very slow-paced game, one that I'm probably not going to have all too much interest in because of it. We do have a few guys that have been very heavy as far as usage and the condensed usage, and that's going to be Saddiq Bey, Jeremiah Grant on the Detroit side. They're expected to, continue to carry the load for their team. So you can make an argument for these guys based upon their prices and stuff, that the main candidates, the main usage guys you could be putting in your lineups. But other than that, I'm really not getting all too excited. I mean, Jeremiah Grant grading out as the best play in this game right now for me from a pure upside aspect based upon his price tag. And Saddiq Bey, 6'9", very similarly priced to him if Jeremiah Grant even plays. He is listed as probable in this one, though, so I do expect him to go. Those two guys are really the main candidates that I'd be looking to on Detroit. They're the price up most, but for good reason. And then on the Orlando side, it's really going to be Mo Bamba, Cole Anthony, and Wendell Carter Jr. These three seem to be really soaking up the usage on their side. They are on a back-to-back, so just keep that in mind. If you're new to NBA, back-to-backs, sometimes these guys can have tired legs. Can result in blowouts. Last night with the Denver-Dallas game, I was actually really high on that game, and Dallas just didn't show up on a back-to-back. Denver blew them out. That's the kind of stuff you could be faced with, so keep that in mind. But yeah, Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, and Wendell Carter Jr. Those are the three guys I'd be looking to on the Orlando Magic side, and I don't think you really necessarily have to play, more than one. Pick your favorite of those three. Pick your favorite of those two on the Detroit side, and you're good to go. Jalen Suggs at 4'9", I guess you could make an argument for. He's continuing to see bigger minutes, but I'm not getting as excited about him about some of these other guys. So the New York Knicks taking on the New Orleans Pelicans, second game on the slate. This game comes in with a total of 215 over-under with a 6-point spread in favor of the New York Knicks. So game that's expected to stay close, game that's expected. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of high totals early on in the season, I will say. There's been very rarely games that are up in like the 230 over-under mark, so it's been a little bit strange in that aspect last year's NBA, so just keep that in mind. But as far as this game's concerned, not exactly the fastest pace in the world. And once again, I do think that we have the usage spread a little bit too thin on the New Orleans Pelicans side, like Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Devontae Graham. All these guys kind of cutting into each other's usage a little bit. JV is going to be my favorite by far, and I'm sure a lot of other people's. He was priced up to 8.5 last time. Now he's down to 8.1. This guy's an absolute fantasy point per minute beast. For years, it's only been an issue because he wasn't getting enough minutes. Now he's finally getting the minutes. As far as his overall production so far on the season at his 8.1 price tag, he's been putting up 1.28 DK points per minute. You love to see it. He's getting rebounds. He's scoring. That double-double upside on DraftKings, JV definitely provides that. So no issues to be going to him. And then obviously Julius Randle on the other side is the same case to be said for the New York Knicks. Guy's an absolute beast. So those two guys pairing up against each other, and they're both really not the best defensively down low, so I could see them just trading buckets against one another, so that's always a good thing. I like playing one center against another center if that's the case. Never hurts my feelings because that can happen. They just kind of go back and forth. Then you have Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Kemba Walker, same thing, cutting each other's usage, inconsistent across the board. One of these guys will have a big game, then the next one's down. I think my favorite by far has got to be Kemba Walker just because he's the point guard. He's the most on-ball dominant. He's the most involved with the usage. Every single time he's taking the ball down the court, he has an opportunity to score, assist. dribble off the pick and roll, etc. So he'd be my favorite one for sure on that side of things. And then, like I said, on the Pelican side, JV is my favorite play on their side. Toronto taking on Indiana. This game right now comes in with a 215.5 over-under with a 3-point spread in favor of the Indiana Pacers. So right there with the rest of these games, not exactly the fastest-paced game in the world. And honestly, this game is going to come down to some injury news because Malcolm Brogdon is listed as questionable. Karis LeVert is also listed as questionable. And that's going to cut into the usage a little bit of other people. Karis LeVert's going to be on a minutes limit when he does return, so I'm not too worried about him. But if Malcolm Brogdon comes back, obviously it's going to make a big difference. If he continues to be out, I think we're going to see a lot of usage for Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner, and Duarte. They're going to continue to be great plays. Last time out, really not doing much for Sabonis. Really not doing too much for Miles Turner and Duarte either. No one really had too big of a game, but I think that could change this time around because, it's just a matter of time before one of them has a big game. If there's no Malcolm Brogdon, there's just too much usage being funneled over to them. So those three guys specifically would be my favorite on the Indiana side. And then on the Toronto side, Pascal Siakam continues to be out. So it's going to be Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, and Scotty Barnes. Those three guys are the main candidates. You can make an argument for Achiawa as well down here at his 5-1 price tag. He's more of a rebound guy for the most part down low. But he has done a pretty good job of putting up some double-doubles early on the season. And he is the the cheapest price guy. TJ McConnell at 4.9 put up an absolute dud last night, so that might keep some people off him as far as his ownership. He was out there for 33 minutes. He was the replacement for Malcolm Brogdon, and he just didn't quite have the biggest game in the world. But now his price tag went down even more. He should be in the same role if there is no Brogdon, and there should be some recency bias, so I have no issue with you playing TJ McConnell whatsoever in this one. Atlanta taking on Philadelphia. Joel Embiid is listed as questionable in this one, so definitely keep your eyes on that one. Of course, that's going to be big news as far as him missing games. I don't really think he's going to miss. I mean, he hasn't missed the game yet. They're just listing him as questionable to be cautious here. I feel like, if anything, he'll probably take a rest day on Sunday. Typically, Sundays will be the time these teams will be resting their stars. This game comes in with a 217.5 over-under with a 3-point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. So it is expected to be one of the faster-paced games on the slate, and I do think there are a few guys, that have a clear role in both of these offenses that you could be definitely going to. DeAndre Hunter at 4.5 is an intriguing play for me based upon how many minutes he plays. He hasn't really had a big game yet, but the guy's consistently seeing around 30 minutes, and he's only 4.5, so he's popping off the page right away to me as a guy that could possibly have a big upside game at his price tag. And then you have Kevin Huerter and Danilo Gallinari as well. All priced in the same range. The guy that's definitely getting the most minutes is DeAndre Hunter. They need him out there for his defense, so he's a guy that I'd be locking in on specifically. And then Cam Reddish at 4.9, always a guy that has some big upside as well. So Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, I think, are a little underpriced. But as far as the main usage guys, it's going to be Trae Young, Clint Capella, John Collins, without a doubt. Clint Capella has been somewhat limited on his minutes. Trae Young yet to have a big game as well, at only 9.6 though. His price tag has gone up. But, I mean, this is a guy that's capable of going out there and putting up 60 DraftKings points any given night, and he hasn't even been close. So there might be not as much ownership on him as there should be, and he could be due for that game very soon. Tobias Harris at 8.4 continues to be a guy that I'm not all too interested at his price tag if there continues to be a Joel Embiid on the court. Joel Embiid just dominates so much usage that I'd rather just play Joel Embiid and pay up for him and hope he has one of those big upside games, because Tobias Harris, I mean, unless Joel Embiid sits at 8.4, I think it's just too overpriced. Clint Capella, John Collins, your next guy's up. Clint Capella continues to be a fade for me until we find out that his minutes are just uncapped, because, I mean, he is an absolute fantasy point per minute beast, but he's just not playing enough minutes. So I'd rather just go to his teammate in John Collins, who has been playing enough minutes, fade Clint Capella and take the upside with John Collins, because when Clint Capella's not out there, John Collins is, and he's able to get those rebounds that have more upside. And then you have Tyrese Maxey and Seth Curry on the Sixers side, who have really cut out big roles this year. In comparison to last year, both playing 30-plus minutes. Both are guys that traditionally, when they have been able to fill on, can get the job done on a permanent basis. Shoot the three ball, get to the bucket, get assists, all of the above for both of these guys. No issues with you going to them. Next game on the slate, we have Utah taking on Chicago. As far as, I just want to make sure there's not anyone I missed in that last game here. Those are the guys I'd be going to. So, yeah, Utah taking on Chicago, 8-8 for Nikola Vucevic. This game comes in right now with a 218 over-under with a 3.5-point spread in favor of the Utah Jazz. Expected to be right along pace with the other games. Nothing too crazy as far as both of these teams. Both teams usage is spread a little bit thin, but we do have some injury news that could impact that. Mike Conley is expected to be out in this one, so that is obviously big news. Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles will receive more playing time, more usage. And then, their price tags are definitely friendly here. Only 4.7 for Joe Ingles. Jordan Clarkson's only 5.4. And yeah, like I said, they're going to get a big usage bump here. That's too cheap for both of these guys on their upside. So they're definitely standing out for me on the slate. And then you have Bojan Bogdanovic as well as 5.2. Those three guys in this game, I think, all have tremendous upside. And then on the Chicago side, it's Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, and Vucevic. Those are the main four. They're dominating all of the usage. Zach LaVine dealing with an injury. I think he's a little bit overpriced for his new role in this team because he just doesn't have as big of a high usage rate as he did last year with all these other guys sucking into playing time. And Lonzo Ball, the point guard, on duty responsibility. So he's always going to have some upside. He can rebound the ball. He can get steals. He can shoot the three. Occasionally, he'll have a game where he lights it up from behind the arc. So no issues with going to him. And DeMar DeRozan has actually been a guy that's been paying off pretty good at his price tag as well. So I think I'd rather play those two guys than Zach LaVine when he's dealing with an injury. And then you have Nikola Vucevic up here at 8.8. Of course, always a good play. I'm a little bit concerned, though, because he does have to take on the defense of Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, a very good interior defense, 5 big man, and it's not exactly the easiest matchup. The one thing I will say, though, is Nikola Vucevic can get out in the arc and shoot the three. So if Vuce is able to kind of sit out on the arc and shoot the three, Rudy Gobert, not exactly the most agile center in the world, he could have a really big game if he gets hot from behind the arc. So that's what you're looking for if you're playing Vuce. And then Donovan Mitchell, 8.7. Continues to be overpriced. Really hasn't had the big game. Honestly, I'm going to continue to probably not play him because why would I want to play him when he's not really producing when I can just go down to a guy like a Joe Ingles, a Jordan Clarkson, a Bojan Bogdanovic, who we just mentioned should get a bump up in usage with it being no Mike Conley. And don't get me wrong, Donovan Mitchell's going to be point guard Donovan Mitchell now probably with no Conley, so that's definitely a bump up. But I just think the upside based upon the price tag is much higher for those other guys that are underpriced. Miami taking on Memphis. Real quick before we get into this game, one thing I want to mention is I am thinking about going live later on in the day. So a little bit of a pre-plug here on the channel around 4 or 5 Eastern time. If you do want to see me go live and you've made it this far in the video, I'm sure that means you're enjoying the content. And I'd really appreciate it if you leave a comment down below saying that you would like for me to go live so I can get some feedback on if you guys are really wanting to see some live content from me. It's been something I've been debating on doing for quite some time now. I had to get some setup going. You need a strong Wi-Fi connection, all that fun stuff. So yeah, quick little disclaimer there in the middle of the video. If you want to see me go live, go ahead and leave a comment down below that you want to see me go live, and leave a comment of your favorite play tonight. Want to get you guys more involved with more comments on the channel. So yeah, excited to do that. We'll have more interaction, and let's see. Miami taking on Memphis. Quick little announcement there. This game comes in with a 217.5 over under, with a 2-point spread in favor of the Memphis Grizzlies. So expected to be a decently paced game here. Miami, always a team that typically can slow down the game, make it a little bit sloppy, but this one doesn't seem to be. Dillon Brooks listed as questionable in this one. Said he'll be sidelined for the final 4-game road trip. This one's in Memphis, though, so maybe he does make his return. That's obviously going to impact the rotation. And yeah, that's big news because we've been seeing a lot of minutes out of Desmond Bane and DeAnthony Melton, and both have been great plays consistently, just getting the job done at their respective price tags, and I've been really enjoying playing them, to be honest. So if Dillon Brooks is back, he can cut another usage. If he has limited minutes, I still have interest in these guys, but it's going to definitely mix up the rotation a little bit. So that's big news for this one. Ja Morant at 9.4 on the Memphis side of things is obviously going to continue to be a great play. He's priced up, but for good reason. He's been right around 50 DraftKings points every single time out. I think he should continue to do so. The guy's an absolute fantasy point per minute beast. He's getting a lot of usage. If you want to go to him, no issues. The only problem is they could put, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler. They're both pretty good on defense, and I'm sure that both of those guys might be able to take on the responsibilities of Ja Morant. Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, at only 8.6, he same thing, continues to produce at a very high rate, 50-plus DraftKings points, and I don't think Memphis is going to slow him down anytime soon, so I like him. And then Bam Adebayo, same rule can be applied for him. He was listed as questionable, downgraded to doubtful, and then all of a sudden was playing yesterday, and he put up 57 DraftKings points, so welcome back, NBA. I think he's going to be fine, considering that. So no issues to go to him. And then Kyle Lowry at 7.1. continues to be an absolute bust. He hasn't been producing in his new role. He's just kind of standing on the sidelines, I guess you could say, with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo doing most of the work. I think it's only a matter of time before he goes off, and you're going to want to be on him when he does because he's just too underpriced for his upside. 7-1, I could easily see Kyle Lowry going out there and putting 50 DraftKings points. And then on the Memphis side, we talked about Melton, Bain, and then also it's going to be Steven Adams and Jerry Jackson Jr., both the big men. They could definitely go out there and put up some big games. So I have no issue with, playing both of those guys. No issue whatsoever. They do have the upside if you want to put them in your lineups. Not probably my top plays on the slate as far as right now. D'Anthony Melton would be my favorite play from this game based on an upside for his price tag projection. So next game on the slate, we have San Antonio Spurs taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. This one's going to be the highest total game on the slate. It comes in with a 223.5 over-under with a 7-point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. Really, the only thing that could possibly make it so that we're not interested in this game would be a blowout. But Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez continue to be out, as does Dante DiVincenzo. So that's going to be George Hill continuing to see minutes. Brook Lopez, we're going to continue to see Thanasis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis continue to get more minutes. I think Bobby Portis got the rest last time. He's out again this time. So Antetokounmpo and Jordan Nwora continuing to see lots of minutes here then, and they could both be decent value plays. But let's be honest. I think the easiest. Pat Connaughton saw 30 minutes last time. He continued to see right around 30 minutes. So at 4.5, he's a great shooter and a guy that could pay off big at his price tag. And then George Hill, we talked about at 3.6. He's getting right around 30 minutes. But I think the biggest beneficiary of this is Giannis and Chris Middleton. Obviously, Giannis and Chris Middleton are going to absolutely dominate the usage. Giannis went out there and put up 78 DraftKings points last time out. I'm sure he could do the same this time around. And Chris Middleton at 7.8, I think continues to be underpriced as well. He hasn't had too big of a game, but I think he could easily go out there and put up 50 DraftKings points with all the usage flowing through him. And both those guys are going to be at the top of my list for priorities. And then you have Grayson Allen at 4.7, who should also continue to see big minutes. So Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, both great shooters that are getting big minutes because of the injuries, and both could really pay off for you at their respective price tags in this game. And then on the San Antonio Spurs side, it's DeJounte Murray continuing to dominate at 8.5. He's put up 71 and 51 the last 2 times out. I think we're really starting to see a coming out season for DeJounte Murray. He's had to deal with other guys like Patty Mills being there in years past, developing, being left behind them, and now finally it's his show. So I like DeJounte Murray a lot at 8.5. And then you have Derek White and Keldon Johnson as well. They're both pretty reasonably priced here for their upside. 200 priced is Keldon Johnson. We haven't seen him have that big game yet, but Keldon Johnson's a guy we've seen in the past just go out there in the first quarter and end up having like 30 DraftKings points at times. And sometimes he goes out there and has like 10. That's just him. He's an all-or-nothing guy when it comes to fantasy, but we're still going to want to have interest in him. And then the same can be said for Lonnie Walker here at 4.9. I think he's 200 priced for his upside. And lastly, Mr. Vassell. Devin Vassell's been having some big games here and there as well. So those are the guys that will be locking in on both sides of that game. Oklahoma City taking on the Golden State Warriors. This game right now comes in with a 219 over-under with a 12.5 point spread in favor of Golden State. Oklahoma City continues to be a team that's just not good, and they're involved in a lot of blowouts. So if you're going to play this game, you're going to need to stay close. Steph Curry at 10.9 would be your top play if the game's going to stay close, because that means his upside is going to be, tremendous. He's the main on-ball handler. Can shoot the 3-ball, of course, and the only thing is he has to take on the defense of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a very good defender. Also, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going to be a great play every single time he takes the floor because he's the only hope that the Oklahoma City Thunder have. So if this game stays close, it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having a big game. He's put up 52, 40, 47 the last 3 times out. He's only 7.3. He was priced all the way up to 8.1 at some point, and then he was down to 7.1. He went up there and put up 47. That's a great performance, and he's still only 7.3. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes a lot of sense to me. If this game's going to stay close, it's going to be on his back. He's going to be the guy, so like him. And then Josh Giddey, Darius Bazley as well. They're kind of priced reasonably, and they're going to need to have big games if this game's going to stay close. So, if you're playing this game, play a couple of these guys on the Oklahoma City side because, that makes sense to me because they're going to have to, with a 12.5 point spread, there's going to be a couple of them that are going to go off if this game's going to stay close, and you're going to want to capitalize on that upside. And then on the Golden State Warriors side, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins. Do you have to play these guys? Not necessarily, especially if you have Stephen Curry in your lineup, but you could also fade Stephen Curry, say he doesn't have that big of a game, and play a couple of these guys. And yeah, that'd be my approach with these games that are expected to be blowouts. If you're going to need to stay close, if it stays close, a couple guys are going to have a big game. So that's how you'd be building your lineup. Denver taking on Minnesota. Nikola Jokic comes in with a 10-7 price tag. He got a nice little rest on the fourth quarter last night because it was a blowout, so he got to just hang out. So he should be fresh to go in this one, even though it's a back-to-back. It's a 221.5 over-under with a 2-point spread in favor of Minnesota. And this game is expected to play fast. It's expected to stay close, and that means I'm going to have a lot of interest in the high-usage guys. It's all going to start with Nikola Jokic and Karl-Anthony Towns. These two guys have huge ceilings tonight. Nikola Jokic has played 15 in 25 minutes the last two nights. He has put up 41 and 46 DraftKings points. That is absolutely ridiculous. He's putting up a 1.89 DK point per minute rate right now. That's above Giannis Antetokounmpo right there with him. And if the game stayed close, he probably would have went out there and had like 70 points last night. And he was in foul trouble. So, I mean, I know way too much about this because the guy was in my lineups. But anyways, Nikola Jokic is an absolute smash play here. And Karl-Anthony Towns is not good on defense. I'm really liking the spot for both of these centers. You talk about playing two centers together. They make a lot of sense. Then you have Anthony Edwards, Michael Porter Jr., D'Angelo Russell. All these guys priced in the mid-range in an up-tempo game could certainly go out there and blow away their price tag. So, you know, you can't play all of them, but you can pick a couple of them. Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, they're going to be great plays with high upside in this game environment. So I actually really, really like this game. It makes a ton of sense to me. Malik Beasley, the former Denver Nugget revenge game, if you want to go there. I'm not going to get too excited because his minutes just have been kind of cut out in this rotation. But the guys that are solid in this rotation, these rotations, the guys that have the high upside, I'm really getting excited to play in this game. I think this game could really shoot out. And although it's a 221.5 over under, I think they could definitely explode on the scene for a higher total than that. And this game could hit the over. And the high usage guys are going to have big, big games if that happens. So I really like that game. Cleveland taking on Phoenix, the last game on the slate. This one, I'm sure, is going to be an ugly one. It comes in right now with a 216 over under with a 10.5 point spread in favor of Phoenix. Not expected to stay close. Not expected to be the most up-tempo game. And honestly, I'm not going to have that much interest in it. Jared Allen at 6'2" could be the guy that you're looking to, honestly, based on his price tag. He has like 50-point DraftKings points upside, so I'd have no issues be going to him. And then on FanDuel, he gets those block steals. Kevin Love at 5'1", no issues with him. But I'm just really not getting that excited, guys. Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, the most on-ball handling, heavy upside guys. I mean, Colin Sexton would be my favorite play on the Cleveland side by far, if he's going to have a big game. And then Darius Garland, those two guys. But like I said, I'm not getting too excited. Evan Mobley been playing pretty well as well. You can make a big case for him. And then on the Phoenix side, if the game stays close, it's going to be Chris Paul and Devin Booker. They have the highest upside. I mean, Chris Paul, I think, would be my favorite option. But the fact that Devin Booker's down all the way to 7-8 now, they're similarly priced. I think you can play either of these guys. You can maybe make a case to play both of them if the game stays close. But I don't think that's really going to be the case. DeAndre Ayton at 6'5", same thing. No issues playing him. Not scared of this defense whatsoever. And looking at my sheet, making sure I'm not missing anyone. Lauri Markkanen at 5'3", I think is a pretty good play. And then JaVale McGee at 3'3". Could be intriguing plays, I guess, based on the minutes they're getting and the upside that they could provide to you. JaVale McGee getting around 15 minutes, though. Am I really going to tell you to get a lot of exposure to JaVale McGee? No. So that is my overall breakdown of this 10-game slate. I got to give you guys my FanDuel picks as well over here, though, real quick before we switch over. I mean, as far as the guys that are standing out, like I always say, it's going to be similar, but there are going to be some pricing discrepancies. I mean, Giannis, an absolute smash play at 11-3 over here on FanDuel. You get points for the blocks and steals at 11-3. We talked about, there being no Drew Holiday. There's no Brook Lopez. They're going to be relying on him, and the guy's upside is just absolutely massive. So obviously him. Grayson Allen at 4'9". Jordan Nwora, same thing for them. They're going to be great value plays over here. Chris Duarte at 5'5". If Malcolm Brogdon's out, we talked about him a little bit. But on FanDuel specifically, I think at 5'5", that's a very friendly price tag for him. He could definitely go out there and have some bigger upside than that. Joe Ingles at 4'7" is going to be a great play over here. We talked about the Utah Jazz value with there being no Mike Conley. I think that Ingles and Jordan Clarkson, those guys are going to get a lot of minutes, but especially Joe Ingles on FanDuel, where you get points with the block, steals, rebounds. He's a great guy to be playing at only 4'7". Evan Mobley at 6'6", I think, is underpriced over here, so that would be one thing to be pointing out. And then Jeremiah Grant, I mentioned my favorite play in that Detroit game. Bojan Bogdanovic, Utah standing out, Jordan Clarkson. So a lot of the same guys over here, but those Utah guys, the more I look at it, I'm getting pretty excited to be playing them. Like Clarkson, We talked about Joe Ingles, Bojan Bogdanovic. They're 200 price in a game that's expected to stay close. And yeah, that is my overall breakdown, guys. Before I let you guys go, got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Jordan Clarkson taking on the Chicago squad. No Mike Conley in this one, and I think that's going to increase his usage even more. A sixth man off the bench that's constantly getting all ball usage when he comes in, putting over 1 DK and over 1 FanDuel point per minute on his production. Should be able to really capitalize on this and get more playing time as well as usage. So I think he's way underpriced in this spot with the new role, with there being no Conley. The upside is massive for Jordan Clarkson. And like I just said, he's just too underpriced in the spot for that upside. Love this spot for Jordan Clarkson. Get him in your lineups because he is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Jordan Clarkson, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. And then don't forget to let me know if you want me to go live later this evening. Leave a comment down below, get some feedback, and I'll make it happen. Wish you guys the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.